Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for God's Not Dead: A Light in the Darkness. So this third installment in the God's Not Dead franchise follows the story of a pastor, I believe. I didn't see the first movie, I only saw the second one, and in the second one he's featured for some reason. He had nothing to do with the main plot, but he's in it, and I think that he was the pastor in the first one. I think, because his church does burn down and he's the one who cares about it most. So he's the pastor who was in the first movie, and it follows the story as he basically tries to rebuild his church after it's burnt down and after the death of one of his friends. So God's Not Dead: A Light in the Darkness. It's the third installment in the God's Not Dead trilogy, and the first two were horrendous movies. They were god-awful. I haven't seen the first one, but from what I hear, it's pretty god-awful, and the second one was definitely terrible. It's a horrible movie. It's offensive to its main demographic, which is Christians. It's offensive to really everybody else. It's a movie that just doesn't really seem to want to please anybody. It just wants to be as offensive as it can get with painting Christians in such a cliche, one-dimensional light. And I think that God's Not Dead: A Light in the Darkness just continues that. This movie is terrible. But that's not really a surprise. If anybody went into this movie expecting something good, that would be really shocking. You've even seen in its box office returns that the people who went and saw the first two because they're Christians and because this is a Christian movie didn't go and see the third one. And that's most likely because they realized how terrible the movie was with depicting Christians, and that's why this movie bombed financially, and that's why it's gonna disappear in 2 weeks. A few movies disappear in 2 weeks in theaters. A movie like Gringo did because that movie made $3 million opening weekend and then dropped another 75%. A movie like Hurricane Heist, same weekend, also disappeared after 2 weeks for the same reason, because it did not make enough money. And this is gonna be an example of a movie that definitely is going to leave theaters after only 2 weeks, which is honestly kind of sad, but at the same time, it's not like this movie didn't deserve it. It's terribly made. The acting in it is just completely horrendous. The directing is horrible. It's awful, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't remember much about this movie. I saw it, I think it was like 6 days ago, it's almost a week ago, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I hardly remember anything in this movie. I probably should have reviewed it a bit earlier, and I wish that I could have. I was busy on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I was out of town, and then yesterday I couldn't have, so this was the first chance I could have reviewed it, and I kind of wish I would have gotten a review in earlier because I don't remember much about this movie. And that just goes to show how forgettable it is. This movie, right once you're done with it, it just instantly leaves your head because there's nothing noticeable about this movie. It's literally just another Christian movie, only it's far, far worse. And what's nice about Christian movies recently is that they haven't been as preachy as they used to be. They used to be like the worst genre in film, and it's not like they've improved much, but films like I Can Only Imagine or films like The Case for Christ, they're getting better because they're more focused on just telling stories than appealing purely to Christians. But the God's Not Dead trilogy feels like it should have come out 10 years ago when films were still focused on these type of films were focused on just appealing to Christians. So really, God's Not Dead is just not a great movie. There's nothing else to say about it. You knew it was going to be bad. The last two are terrible. This one is too. There's really not a whole lot to say here. I'm gonna give God's Not Dead: A Light in the Darkness a 2 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for God's Not Dead: A Light in the Darkness. So, what are your thoughts on this film, or what do you think of the other God's Not Dead films? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.